Hello everybody. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes till some people can show up today. Hang on just a second here. There we go. We're going to give it a little bit of a few seconds here, 30 seconds or so, and wait till more people show up. Good evening everybody. Happy New Year. Hello Ruthie. Hello Alan. Hello Al. Hello Christy. And James and Ruthie. Hello, hello. All right. This is a mystery carving, so I thought. Going back the last year and a half or so, I've noticed I've carved some things that were similar. So this is going to be similar but yet different. All right. So what you need is a piece of wood that is 3.5 inches tall, 1.5 inches wide. Hi, Jen and Jack. Hello, Bob. 1.5 by 1.5 by 3.5 inches tall. This guy's going to have a hat. He's going to have a scarf. He's going to be holding a cardinal, and it will be it's going to be a snowman. And this is the one we're going to be working on today. Okay. And just a little history about the cardinal. I know there are people that believe that when you see a cardinal, it's supposed to signify or symbolize something about a loved one. So since I've lost 2 people in the month of January, my sister and my mom, I thought this might be appropriate. Now, going back on I did one exactly like this a year ago. And instead it was holding a heart. So I didn't realize that until I looked at the picture I posted it as my profile, and it's exactly the same thing. But we're going to hop right into this. And I think this might be a little fun project to do if you are home today because of COVID or whatever, if you're in a lockdown. Again, I know Canada's back into a lockdown. But anyway, let's get our piece of wood here. The other thing I'm also going to do, I'm going to do some measurements for you. So you have a general idea how far you have to go down. So from the top of the hat down, I would say it's not quite 3/8 of an inch. And then from the brim of the hat over, it's about 3/4 of an inch. All right, down to from the top, it's just about 2 inches to the bottom of the scarf. It's about 2.5 inches, and then the last 1/2 inch is the cardinal. So hopefully that will help you. So if you need some idea where to put all your markings, that's a good one. Let me get a pencil here before I start. Where did I put it? Oh, Jimmy. I hope everybody had a good New Year and a safe one. Oh, here it is. Hang on. Fell on the floor here. And I was so organized today. But anyway, let's get started with this. So the first thing you want to do is kind of find out where the hat is going to go. All right, so we're going to put a mark all the way around. But actually we're going to start with the hat. So from the bottom of the hat to the bottom of the it's about 1.75 inches from the bottom of the hat, the side of the hat, from here down is about 1.75 inches. So let's start. So I'm going to start with the hat first. We're going to just go up here and we're going to cut a piece out. I always start with the hat. It's a lot simpler. I hope you all had a good Christmas. It's been a little while since I've been doing this. I think I did it 1 week before, like a week and a half before Christmas here. So we're going to go over here and cut this. I actually had a Canadian Christmas this year, and a white one, no doubt. A white rainy one. It was white when I was up there, and then all of a sudden it it was interesting. It was an interesting time. It was not easy to get up there, I'll tell you. Between worrying about the weather. Now, after I get these cut, oh, I gotta do the back side here. Let's keep my mind on this for a second. And then we're gonna follow this. We're gonna follow this line. We have the line in the back. We put a line across. So we come down and around, and then we go across the back. And the same thing with the other side. We're going to try to leave enough room so his eyes can be in there. Okay. So let's just bring this up. And I'm going to go a little further out on the outside, just to make sure I have enough room for everything. Okay. Same thing over here. We're going to come up. And I'm using a parting tool right now. And come across here. I plan to be on next week, but I haven't figured out. I'm running out of ideas, honestly, of what I'm going to be doing. If something new strikes me, I'll let you know. But there's a couple of the critters that I didn't get to do because of my hand being broken, my wrist being broken, and that's one for Thanksgiving. So maybe we'll do that. We'll make up time for that, so you can do it next year. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to recut that. Alright, so now I'm going to undercut this way. Okay. I got to put some things on here so I can see better. And then I'm going to undercut underneath the hat here. There we go. Alright, let me just clean this up a tiny bit. Have that a nice clean cut on both sides. Alright. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this down. This is how low I want it to be, but we'll redefine that line a little bit later. So we're just going to start scooping out. We're going to put the tassel at the top of the hat, the little pom-pom. I actually got him painted today and antiqued. So now if you want to help yourself a little bit before you get that far, you can go from corner to corner, like so, corner to corner, and go across. I'll give you a better idea where the center is. Oh, I'm sorry, the corner's right there. So, right about there. So, we're going to keep going here. Just keep scooping it out a little bit more. And once we get it a little bit rounded, we're going to start bringing it down just the pom-pom itself. You're going to take your, I'll explain that later, Jane. I use, Jane is asking how I do my antiquing. My antiquing is done with a mineral oil that you can buy at Walmart, and oil-based burnt umber, and not the acrylic. Do not use the acrylic, it won't mix with that oil. You need an oil base. Notice I'm putting my finger on top of it there, going all the way around. And then I'm going to just start scooping it out with my V tool to give me a start where to go. You can put a stop cut in right away if you want. That is up to you. I like putting the little V tool in. It just helps me know exactly where to go. Then I start on the project itself. So all right. Now I'm going to take my knife and right at the groove there, that's pretty straight all the way around. We're going to take it and we're going to, I'm going to lean it on here so it's just a little easier in my hand here. My hand's getting better. It's very weak there for a couple of weeks, but it's starting to get some strength back into it again. But it's not quite up to par. And when I lean it on the table, I can put a little more pressure on it. This takes a little bit of the longer time. You're going to keep doing a stop cut, going around and cutting it out. Okay, and then what I do is I usually start doing the top portion off. Once I get it in a little bit, I go back and do the outside. Just like so. Alright. Alright, let me do this again. Now, I said this is going to take a little bit of time, so if you want to pop back later, you can. This will take me like 3 or 4 minutes to get this done. Maybe a little bit longer. This is the hardest part of the whole thing to me, is getting this tassel. When you decide to do the tassel this way, it does take more work. Well, you just chip it out a little bit at a time. But while I'm doing this and going around, I'll tell you, I went up to Canada. I had to have my 72-hour tests of COVID before going up there. And I wasn't sure how. I was pretty sure I was COVID-free, and I was. And I got up to the border, and lucky me was randomly chosen at the border to have a random test. They don't do it there. They send you with this kit that I had no idea what I was doing with it. I had to have a Zoom meeting with a nurse, and I had to send it with a purulator. It sounds like percolator down here, but purulator. And because of their emergency status right before Christmas. I hear it's much worse now up there, like everywhere else. And I got the results in a couple of days, and it was fine. But yeah, that kind of put a damper on things. having to take care of that between everything else. But I had a wonderful Christmas up there. It was very nice to be with my family. My sister made it a very nice Christmas. So it was worth going up there. I was more worried about the weather, but there were other things to worry about than the weather. But the weather was fine driving most of the way up there. And I found this out later. If you are tested positive up there and you drove yourself over the border, you can go home as long as you don't stay at a hotel and you drive directly back over the border. I believe that to be true. If you're not 100% sure, check their website, but that's what I was told, or that's what I found on the internet, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be up there for a few days or what, but I was there about a week. So, and my niece was very good. Heather helped me a lot with getting everything done, so that was good. All right, so let me take a look at this. We're going to take more off on this side. I can see we're getting a little crooked here. So, all right, so once I get it down to pretty well where I want it to be, so let me take a look at it. Okay, that's pretty well. Let's see, it's about the same size. It's going to be a little bit smaller. So let's do one more round, and then we'll start rounding it up a little bit. Let me take a look at something here. Yep, okay. We're going to bring this down a little bit here. It used to be I was able to go to Canada with just a passport. Now, to get to Canada, you need a test, a vaccine card, Arrive Canada. What's the last one you need? Oh, negative test, Arrive Canada, vaccine card, and a passport. So you need those 4 documents to get over the border. And it's not easy. Hopefully that will change if things change in the next year or so. We'll see. Okay, so you notice I'm going in a little bit now. Okay? Just going in. Okay. Now I'm going to round off the top of the tassel. We're going to when I do the first round, I just go all the way and take that hard edge off. Okay. And then I take this off a little bit here just to get rid of that roughness, because if you don't, it's going to show up when you paint. Not so much when you paint white, but when you do other colors, it will soak in, it will be darker if it's not all hit with a knife. Okay, so I'll come back to this a little bit later. It looks a little, yeah, it's fine. Alright, so I'm going to round this in a little bit, each corner, except for the front. Front, I'll do a little bit of that. There we go. And now you see this portion here, I'm going to spray that because you're going to go across the grain. And when you go across the grain, you want to make sure you have a real nice sharp knife that you can cut right across. We're going to just bring this down a little bit all the way around. Okay. And then you're going to bring it up to that tassel. But you're going to be very careful. You don't want to you don't want to push so hard that you're going to leave all marks in here. So, you know, if you're not sure, just take little strokes. You're better off that way than trying to do it all at one time. I'm trying to do it all at one time because I'm trying to not take too long to make this for you, since I'm taping it. Alright, so that's kind of the top. Let me take it back here real quick. Let me just even it out a little bit. I'll be right back. I didn't go anywhere. Alright, so once you get that done and this portion done, hello Christine, we're going to figure out where the face is going to go. So we're going to put a line right here. We're going to notch it. This is where the scarf and the face are going to go. I figure since it's winter, it's more of a winter project. Might be fun to do something a little different. Okay. And now I'm going to take my V tool. I'm going to spray it again just to keep it. And what I'm using is rubbing alcohol and water. And I'm going to take this up. If you have any questions, I'll try to see it on the screen. I only see 2 people at a time, so I know there's like 24, 25 people in the room right now. So if you have a question, I'll try to answer it for you. And we're going to go up this way. Okay, is that even? Yeah, that looks pretty good. So, take my tool again, and I'm going to make another stop cut right underneath the face here. And we're just going to undercut it a little bit, right, like so. Somebody asked about antiquing. When you mix those 2 ingredients, hello Lori, when you mix those 2 ingredients for the antiquing I talked about earlier, you want to take the container that you get at Walmart. You want to, I think it's a pint. You want to take half of it out, and you only want to put a 1-inch strip of the oil-based burn umber in the jar and shake the heck out of it. Should be the consistency of light coffee to medium coffee when you look at it. That way you know that you don't have too dark. You can always make it a little, do a second antiquing on your piece. I antique this, but if you don't antique it, it will look very, very bright. I know it still looks bright, but I'm kind of off the hot chocolate right now, Christine. I wonder if somebody's going to mention that. And the batteries were changed in the smoke detector, so we're good there too. So, okay, so we're going to round the face off a little bit and bring this down. We'll go in a little bit further. You know, we can tuck that in a little bit more. So maybe later I'll get a hot chocolate. It's a good night for it. It's really cold down here in Pennsylvania. So, okay, so I chopped off a little bit more than I liked, but I'm going to bring this back, straight back a little bit more. All right, we're going to take our I saw that was frozen. We're going to take this and we're just going to go from both sides. See how that is? We're going to make like a little circle. It will look like a little point, but you can make it round too. It's up to you. But usually if you have a little carrot nose, that has a little point to it. So I'm going to do this. And we're going to come down like so. Okay? Because the point's going to be like over here. So we're going to bring this down from the middle there, and we're going to take it down to that line. Just like so. Maybe a little bit further. Alright, just like so. Now, when you cut around the nose, you want to cut it exactly parallel with, hello Mark and Randy, you want to do it parallel with your corner. You do not want to stick it this way, otherwise you're going to be cutting into the nose. So when you cut this out, you want to cut it straight around, like you're looking at it straight on. Because if you do it at a little bit of an angle, you're going to have a very skinny nose. And I always say, fat nose, big eyes, fat nose, that gives it the cute factor. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to just see how I have it. And even if you go out a little bit, it's better than going inward. All right, and we're going to bring this down. Okay, so I did both sides, and then you're going to go up to the top of the hat. You're going to cut a little piece out. The bird, when we get down to doing the cardinal, it's going to be a little difficult because it's very, very small. As you can see, it's very, very small. So I'm going to show you on paper how to draw it, because it's kind of hard to see here how to do it, but I'll give you roughly the same idea, and you can make it as tall, as wide as you want with that pattern. And let's just bring this out a little bit. Hang on just a second. My knife got a little dull there, so let me just sharpen it up a little bit. I really like this knife, so just want that tip really nice and sharp. Alright, so I'm going to do the other side as well. We're going to bring this down a little bit more. Hello, Jim. And Beth. So I'm going to start rounding this nose a little bit. We're doing a snowman. If you're just coming in here holding, it's going to be a snowman holding a cardinal. Alright, that's what we're working on. It's a little winter scene, and let me take this back here just to take a better look at it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Alright, good. Now, I'm going to bring this down a little bit. I won't do a lot of fussing here online. I'll do it when I get offline a little bit more. I'm just giving you the real quick basics on how to do this thing, this carving. Alright, so now we're done with that. I'm going to go back to the hat. I'm going to clean up all this rough stuff here. And remember, you want to get all that rough stuff off. If you don't, it's not going to paint up correctly, especially when you do the blue. If you decide to paint it blue, it's up to you. You can paint it any color you want. Okay, we're going to just take a little bit of this rough stuff off. I'm trying to work on a new tool that will be very helpful to you later on. I haven't found a good source or the size I'm looking for. And I used it a lot when my hand was not able to carve as well in the past. So, okay, so we've got that pretty well done. Let's bring this down a little bit more. All right, now we're going to figure out right here. We're going to start with the cardinal a little bit, and with, we have two little feet sticking out, two little boots. Now, if you don't want the boots there, you don't have to put them there. You can eliminate this part of the video, but I found that if you put the boots in, I think there's a nice contrast when you put them in. You can put the boots on the side, but the only problem with putting it on the side is if you want to have that rounded look for the snowman, you won't really see that as much than having them in the front. I've been doing a lot of my carvings in the front now. I like the boot draped over, like the trim of the Santa coat going over the boot. So this is an option for you. Don't have to put it in. If you don't, you can just ignore this portion and just fast forward it. This will be on YouTube later on, so if you miss anything now, it will be on later. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, right here, the top of his head, okay, hang on. Somebody did a very long question. Yes, I'll have colored pictures of Noah's Ark when I get around to it. I'll send them to you. So this here is at the very bottom of the scarf. So we're gonna just do a little, this is the top of the head, so we're gonna just go straight in. We're gonna go a little bit in like this. We're gonna be very careful right here and take more off at the scarf level. Alright, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my V tool and we're gonna have the scarf go up and around. I have a line there. Now, you had my measurements. If you're just tuning in, I did measurements way in the beginning with a ruler or a measuring tape. Tell you how far from here to the bottom, from here to here, from here to the bottom of the face to the bottom of the scarf, and how far for the rest of it. So it gives you a little bit of an idea how far, because a lot of people say, well, how far do you go down? And I really just kind of look at it and put it there. I don't really measure everything out. So okay, so let's do the other side as well. Okay, now I'm going to dig down a lot deeper up to the hat there. We're going to just do a little cut just like so. Now you don't want to go too far over here because you've got to put the cardinal in. You're just going to go in kind of deep from the top where the hat meets the scarf, almost to the cardinal. Because once you start doing the cardinal, and I'll show you what that is in just a second, and we'll put that in first, and then we'll work everything around that. I'm going to bring this out. There we go. Alright, so that's the scarf. Now, I'm going to show you on a piece of paper how this little cardinal is done. Alright, so right at the very top here, this is just going to be a larger, we just do a diagonal, like a skew cut. Okay, so this would be right here. Alright, then then it has a bit of a crown at the top of the head. Okay, then this goes down, and then from here, this is where the eye would be, because if you were doing a regular one, you would be bringing this back, and then the eyeball would be here. Then from here, you go straight into your beak, or your beak. Okay, this is just a rough, and then it's a little bit of a neck area there, and then here you come back with like a sideways V, and then you'll do his head. Okay, and you can do this as wide, or now his eye looks really funny there, but you know, you get the idea here. Okay, because this is all going to be undercut right in here. And then this is the head portion. and then you just do the body. Just two kind of an oval shape, and that's the bottom of your cardinal. Now this is a real rough draft of it, and then if you want to, what I normally do is I put a little bit of a feathering underneath here. This gets cut out. So I hope that helps you a little bit. You can practice a few times on a piece of paper before you put it on here, but you can see I have a little bit of a circle here. There's the little V, and then the other circle in the back, the oval. Here's the oval, here's the beak, and here's the crown right there. And that gives it the shape of a cardinal. And I'll show you here. Okay, so we're going to undercut right here. We're going to cut the neck out a little bit so you can tell the difference between the two. Here's the feathering, this portion right here. All right, and then this here is just rounded, and his bill and the crown. And this is cut under a little bit, right where the eye is, just like you would do if the cardinals that I showed you last year on how to do the cardinals. So let's see if we can get some of this cut out. And this takes a little bit of time. I might be going in front of the camera and out of the camera because it's so small that I really have to keep an eye on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight in. I'm going to start on the back side. I'm going to do a little circle and another little circle, the oval part to the body. All right. I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to very carefully start trimming that out because it's so tiny. And you really don't need to take a whole bunch out. You just want to take enough out that it sticks out. You don't have to go too crazy with it. Alright, so that's the back side. Alright, now the front side. Let's do the oval first. The cat's at the door. He's going to have to wait. Alright. The bill and the little rounded crown. So what I'm going to do here is just go around very carefully. And it's good to have a sharp point knife. And whatever you do, do not yank it out. If you pull it out, you're going to pull part of the bill out or something. If it doesn't come out clean, go back and recut it. That's the best way to do it. Alright. So let me see if I got that right. There we go. Alright. You see it now? Okay. Now I'm going to redefine that a little bit because that bill's a little bit long. Or the beak is a little bit long. But that's how you do it. And then this down here gets curved down. We'll take this rough stuff off here a little bit. Right here where the neck is, you just want to put a little notch all the way across. Distinguish the head from the body. Alright. This takes a little bit of time, and just take your time with it. Now with this here, there's a little bit of an undercut, so we're going to go straight into the head a little bit, and we're just going to cut underneath there. So that looks like that little wing portion from the head right there. Okay? And the same thing where the crown is, where the eye is going to have to go. You're just going to come in a little ways, just like so. You're going to undercut it from the bill, from the beak up. See? It's perfect. That's great. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, but it gives it the shape you want it to give to it. So there's your crown. There's where the eye goes. The bill has to be dug out a little bit more. I'm thinking of you, Ruthie. I know you like the small stuff, if you're still with us. Some people really like doing the small, tiny stuff. Now right here, I put another little V cut in, and that's going to be his bill. We're going to cut that out a little bit. Teeny tiny, just one little cut there, ever so slightly. One little cut here, and you're just going to cut this out a little bit. There you go. See? There it is. So I'm going to leave it at that right now, and we're going to continue with the feet. You're going to take your little V tool and you're going to make a little upside down U and bring this down on both sides. I'm going to do it back here real quick, save a little bit of time. And the cardinal isn't hard to do, it just takes a little bit of time to do it because it's so small. Alright. And I'll really fuss with this when I get offline a little bit more. I can make it just a tad deeper, but right here you want that to go in like so. I'll make it stick out. You want to round off that bottom part a little bit. Here you're going to round this off a little bit on each side. And the back. And the bottom. Alright. So right now you have it. Let me think here. Alright. There's a lot of cleanup here yet. Okay, so I'm going to round off the scarf a little bit more. Alrighty. Alright, now with the face, I'm going to start trimming a lot of this stuff off, rounding his mouth down a little bit more. Stop scratching at the door, Marvin. He wants in. I'll bring him in a little bit later. Okay, I'm going to round off the nose a little bit more. Okay, to put the eyes in, we're going to just round this off a little bit here in the front. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some eyes in this fella. So I'm going to put the eyes right here. Let me take a look at what I did. Yeah, it's kind of not correct a lot of times, and the eye isn't that far. But this is a caricature, so we're not going to worry about too much of it being technically right. I'll take my knife and just... Snowman with a cardinal. We did the cardinal already. We're working on the face. Somebody asked what we were working on. And you always go from the inside of the eye out. Okay. And take that rough stuff off. I'm gonna need another knife here. Let's see if this one will sharper tonight. There we go. Okay, so roughly that's how the eyes are put in. Let me take some of this rough stuff off yet. We lucked out. We did not get any snow yesterday, but they are calling for freezing weather tomorrow morning, freezing rain or something in the morning. So I'll just stay put in the morning tomorrow. Let me go back here. Let me get another longer knife out to take care of a couple things here. Is that the same one that's the same one I was just using. Okay, let's see if this will work. It's a little bit longer, a little easier to reach. Okay. We're going to have to put the brim of the hat in here as well. A lot of these are repeat when you do, thank you, Peggy. A lot of these are repeats when you do the hat. You know, once you do one hat, two hats, you can do any of them. They're all basically the same. But it's how big you want to make it, where you want to put the tassel. Those are all choices you get to make when you make one of these. Alright, so let me take a look here. Something doesn't look right to me. Hang on just a second. I'm just repairing something. Something with his eyeball doesn't look right to me. Okay, there we go. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to have to put his face in. Hang on just a second. The cat needs to come in for a minute. Oh, Marty, what do you want? What? Yeah, a little cold out there, is it? Okay, you go sleep in the chair for a while. Sorry about that. Alright, so now, I'm trying to think where we were. Oh, the face. One cheek, second cheek, and a smiley face. Now a little more. Take my V tool and I'll do one part of the cheek this way, one part of the cheek this way. Alright, so what I do now is I just trim this portion on by the mouth a little bit. Just take off the hard edges, that's all I basically do. Alright, there we go. So that's kind of the face. I'll run this off a little bit more later. Alright, this all comes off. Okay. What I do with the scarf, well, his arms and hands have to go in yet, and his feet. So right here is the arm. We're going to just do it like so. Alright, we're only going to show part of the arm because some of it's underneath the... And we're going to go up a little bit. Don't worry, Milton. It will be on YouTube. If you missed any of this, it will be on YouTube later on. Okay? I always put it on YouTube about an hour, 2 hours in the tonight. Alright, so right here, we're going to first take the corners out where the elbows are. So bring that down, bring this up. Just like so. See the difference on the two sides? This is where you get that snowman look from when you start pulling these out. And I take my V-tool again and I just take it up to the top. I was hoping to have some classes here at the farm, but that doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. We do have a show in Lancaster this year. As far as I know, it's still on, unless something major happens. And I always work towards the edge here. Okay? Again, we take our knife and we just take this down a little bit more. Undercut it a bit more. I'm going to try to get some of my bears done for Valentine's Day. It's hard to believe you got to think that far ahead, but when you're a carver, you've got to think ahead with that kind of stuff. And I kind of round that up a little bit. Same thing here. Just round it up a little bit. Undercut a little bit more. And we'll have to do the feet yet. And the mittens. The rest of the scarf yet. A little ways to go yet, guys. This takes a little longer when you do a 3.5 inch piece than a 2.5. Yes, Morgantown, PA has a casino. I never thought I'd see the day that Morgantown would have a casino. Usually in this area, you either had to go down to Delaware or you had to go to New Jersey Shore. And what a difference things have been. I have not been there yet, and I don't plan to spend my money there, but it's there. It's the talk of the town right now. So I'm going to round that up a little bit in the corner there, because that's where his mittens are. So we're just going to take this little corner out. It looks like his mittens are a little bit rounded. Alright, so right here we're going to put a little 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Take our little V tool and we're going to just go ahead and make the top of its mittens here. What we're working on is right here. This is what we're working on. You notice I always go towards the edge, not from the edge in, because you won't get a real nice tight fit that way. Now I'm going to cut this a little bit more, and I'm going to undercut so that sticks out a little bit more. Same thing with the mittens. I go up this way. There we go. Same thing over here. All right. The shoes, all I do is I do one little cut, and I make that a little bit deeper so the shoes stick out a little bit more, just like so. See the difference between that one and this one? It just makes it stand out a little bit better. All right, and then here we're going to round it towards the shoe. There we go. Same thing with the other side. I think the cat's happy to be in. It's a little chilly out. Alright, that's not as deep as I'd like it to be, but there we go. And we're going to round that off a little bit at the bottom. There we go. Alright. What's left to do with the bird? Well, a couple things. Let's just make it a little bit deeper so it sticks out a little bit more on both sides. Let me take it back here for a second, because then I can just see it a little bit better. It's so hard to see something so small so far away. Okay. Hang on just a second. I'm almost done here. I'm just rounding off the bird a little bit. Alright. So, the bird, there's not a whole lot to do with the bird other than texturing it. And I'll show you how I did it on here. I won't have time to do that, but we're going to put a little, well, right here on the bird, we're going to do a little, like there's a separation from his back feathers to his breast feathers there. So we're just going to go straight across. Okay. And we're going to undercut that a little bit. This way. There we go. All right. There we go. So that's what I'm looking for. Alright, so that's the bird. I know this is a little rough looking, but it does take time to go back and clean it up a little bit. We have his mittens in, which is good. We also have his feet in, a little bit with a scarf yet. We're just going to make a little V like this. And I'm going to do that with 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's going to be like the overlap for that. Yeah, Mule Rider, if you go to the beginning, when I put this onto YouTube, you'll see all the measurements. I did it from the top to the top of the nose and so on all the way down. So I already did that. You'll just have to go back and take a look at it. Where was I here? Okay. We're going to take that out. Take that out. And I thought I had that out. That's not. There we go. You're welcome. And then I'm going to take my little V tool and I'm going to go straight across here, because that's like the tassel part or the fringe. Now you're going to take your little V tool and you're just going to do a little, okay. So that's the, I'll clean all this up. But all this stuff has to come off, folks. And then, of course, like all the other hats, we need to put the brim on the hat. I'm just going to do this really quickly, and then I'll show you how to do it on the finished piece, because this is taking a little longer than I like. Alright, so what you do is you take your V tool and you're going to cut this all out, all the way around. I'm only going to do a portion of it to save some time here. I'll finish this off when we get back off of here. Alright, then you're going to take, once you go all the way around, you're going to take your knife and you're going to just go down a little more, just score it again, put a little cut there, and you're going to come back up and you're going to just trim that out. And then you're going to get rid of this hard edge here. Yes, I will have it on YouTube later, Adam. About an hour later. So that's how it's going to look all the way around. So really, we're done with it, except for a couple of things. I'm going to show you on here because it's just easier to show you. When you do your final, when you get the brim all the way done, you're going to take your little V tool and you're going to go to the left a little bit at an angle, and you're going to go all the way in the outside first. You're going to flip it over and you're going to do the inside, and then you'll do the middle. I always work towards the outside with the V tool. The other thing you're going to do is down here, if you can see it, but it's going to be really hard to do that online, is I have this V tool cutting down and around a little bit on the face, straight across at the top, down and around a little bit, and then a little bit opposite direction for the wings. And then the hat's done the same way, where you start down here and you go sideways, and then you keep going, and then it turns into a spiral. I have plenty of videos on it. If you look at any of the Santas, it's the same type of thing. And then also right here, you want to put a little lip there. Oh, I can do that here and show you. I can put a little lip right here for the sole of the boot. Alright, that's all you got to do there. Alright, so that's pretty well I know I cut this a little short, but I think it's going to take too much time to do everything. But once you paint it, you can paint it any color you want. I use a dark blue, a white. I put little dots on the hat and the top. Orange for the nose. Pink for the lips and the cheeks. The eyeballs are done with a gray, then a blue, then the black and the white dot. And the cardinal's just red, and then I just did a little black where his face is. If you have any doubt on the shape of the cardinal, you can always go back and look on, just look at any Google, and I think, I think the reason I went with the blue and the light blue is so that the cardinal would stick out. If this was all red, it would look Christmassy, no problem. You can do it in green, it would look fine too. But if you do it all in red and pink, this won't stand out as much. So this is more of a winter type. But it does take a little time to do that little cardinal on the bottom. But just take your time. The hats are all done the same with the texturing. What I use is a V-tool and just a knife. And I hope that you enjoyed this small little surprise project, even though I did the same one last year at the same time, and it had a heart. So we'll see what we come up with next week. I'll let you know, and we'll see you then. Okay, and this will be up on YouTube very shortly. If you're worried about it, you won't miss it. It will be there. So enjoy your time at home if you're in a lockdown, or if you're haven't been able to leave the house because of COVID or anything. I hope you find some joy in doing some carvings. All right, folks, take care and God bless. Bye-bye.